watching Every Day is a New Day, and my name is Kim O'Neill, and I have a fantastic guest here today. Her name is Beth Myers, and our show today is Protecting Your Heart. Protecting Your Heart with Kim and Beth. And Beth, hello, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for inviting me to be here today, and I am just so excited to just be in this joy with you today.
Joy is actually my word of the year. So
mine too.
That just sounds very perfectly aligned. So that's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. So Beth, tell me a little bit more about the coaching work that you do and more of what you're doing these days.
I have been a school counselor and educator for 31 years, and I just retired into being a law of attraction certified empowerment coach, mentor, and speaker. About 17 years ago, I heard Oprah and Cheryl Richardson speak, and I'd never heard about life coaches before. And so I was like, that sounds like something I would be really interested in doing when I get to the point where I want to retire from my work that I've been doing in the school system. And so about 2014, Christy Whitman showed up in my inbox with the Quantum Success Coaching Academy. And, that's where I started my journey, really learning more about the universal laws and seeing how that can partner with a lot of the work that I've done previously with adults and children. And so within my coaching practice right now, I'm really looking to expand on just putting out a lot of insight and information to people to get them focused on kindness and the good things that are in this world. One of my favorite sayings, and I know this is going to be backwards on the screen, but believe there is good in the world, be the good.
Oh, I love that. Just saw it. Okay.
So it's probably backwards on the screen, but, I just love that tenet is that there is good in the world, and we have to be able to be part of that good. And in putting out information and opportunities for people to grow and make choices to stand in their own light and to be real is just such a passion of mine that I feel that I, as a life coach, I can bring that to a more global community. Through my work with the QSCA and Christy Whitman as part of her team, as well as having my own coaching practice, I am just able to see how that mentoring and putting that good out there and helping other people be able to do that is so powerful.
Right.
And I'm looking at opportunities to be able to strengthen that adult-child relationship with some of the group coaching programs that I'm looking at starting in 2017. And I love music, so I do Music Mondays, and I'm going to start a Flip It Friday on Facebook Live to kind of flip the lyrics upside down and get people's perspectives on it, because that really helps us shift our energy, our vibration as music, and it can go to various emotions that we're feeling. But I really want to focus on empowerment for people to thrive and not just survive.
So tell us a little bit more. I know that some of what you do sort of centers around bullying prevention.
Yes, bullying prevention.
What led you to wanting to focus on that niche?
Things that happen to children in particular, because that's the area that I've worked in for 31 years in particular, but even my own experiences is how we step into that role of not feeling powerful. And when others are trying to impose their need for power on us, and we take that in, it creates that imbalance of power where you have the target, and then you have maybe somebody who is the queen bee, who is stepping into that role trying to have a lot of power, or that person that is the on again off again friend, that one day they're your friend and one day they're not your friend, or the two-faced friend. Oh, we're friends today, and tomorrow, oh, you're the one that's out. That was the one that I found myself stepping into that role quite frequently when I was younger. And so one of the things is really stepping into your own power, learning skills and strategies to protect your heart, and not allow yourself to be made to feel, or you allow yourself to feel that you're not good enough, that you're not valuable. And that's the message that I think is so important for children and adults. The thing that we forget about is that we all have those wounded places within ourselves that come up as limiting beliefs that keep us from stepping into our own power of why we can't do something, or how we're allowing somebody to treat us. And so that empowerment piece, I've always been very, very passionate about that.
Protecting your heart. What is behind that for you?
Protecting your heart has been something that I have done most of my life, as I have moved through different challenges and such in life, as we all do. And the gift that I've had has been to work with children, the staff, and the families in the realm of education, public education, to assist them in reaching their goals and being their best self. And protecting your heart is really important in not being that target. And having those unkind things kind of stick with us. So protecting your heart is really about how to help not have those unkind words and actions stick with us. And the thing that we have to remember is that that's a role we step into. It's not a role we're stuck in. We can choose to stay stuck there or be, oh, poor me, kind of like ER, everything's terrible, everything's horrible. And the thing that we have to remember is we have choice. We have choice about what role we step into. Are we stepping into the target role? Are we going to step into the queen bee role today, or the king bee role? Are we going to step into the on again, off again friend role? Are we going to step into that two-faced friend role?
Right.
And if we did, oops, we can recognize we made a mistake. It's a learning opportunity. We can say, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be different. I'm going to remember how valuable I am. And I don't deserve to be treated in the way that somebody's trying to treat me. So yes, I was bullied. I'm sure most of us can answer that question, yes. But a lot of it has to do with, do you choose to stay stuck there? Do you choose to continue to allow the same patterns to continue over and over, or are you making some resolution to step more into your own power and light?
Something I just thought, I hadn't really thought of it this way before, is, so I think that a lot of us, we tend to take on the labels that others place on us, oh, you are this or you are that. And we tend to take it on. And I just was thinking, I wonder if that's because as children, we're guided by our parents, right? And we learn to listen to our parents, and whether it's conscious or not, we tend to take on the things that they are teaching us, whether it be deliberate or just by example, whether they're not realizing it. And I'm wondering if maybe that contributes to, as a kid, because I can identify with what you were just saying. Yes, I too have some bullying experiences from my childhood. And I'm wondering if, because we get into that pattern of just kind of accepting what comes our way from our parents, if maybe that makes it easier for us to automatically start to accept what we experience from our classmates. And those could be some of our very first experiences of choosing to say, oh, I have a choice. I don't need to take that on. That is not true for me. And I don't know, I'm just starting to think about that.
I love it because you are right there, girl. you are right in the same alignment of what's really important is we have to question those stories that
Yes.
are told. How many of our parents, or even some of us that are, parents today, were raised with you have a choice about how you feel, let alone identifying what your feelings are.
Right.
Nice girls don't feel mad. Nice girls don't get angry. And then it's like, well, what do you do with all these angry feelings that you have?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the cool thing about today for kids is kids are at a much more aware space. They are in this enlightened period, really,
Right.
where when you and I went to school, maybe there weren't counselors in school. I was one of the first elementary school counselors, or one of on that cutting edge of when elementary school counselors first were starting in the public school system where I am. And I thought, wow, what would it have been like to have learned some of the things that counselors teach children in school today, and teach families and teach staff how to deal with that emotional component of being who you are, because that's such a huge part of who we are, and standing in our own power. And so we do have we do get stuck in some of those stories that we're told. And the adults in our lives, they know what they know because that's what they've experienced.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we have to take that on and continue that. Or as an adult, that we have to continue in that same pattern. That's the whole process of self-development, is asking questions and stepping into some of those questions. And you asked one of the questions about, is it true? And that's one of the things that I ask kids, when kids would say, well, so-and-so called me a certain name. I'll say, well, is that true? And really questioning. And they would look at me like, huh? Like they're not really asked that question. Is that true? Was it kind? Kind of playing with that a little bit. Was that kind what somebody said to you? Was that necessary? Was it something, what's going on for me right now? Am I feeling really insecure about something? And then maybe what's going on for that other person? And having that empathy toward others, not starting with yourself, because we have to have that empathy for ourselves as we ask those questions. And then there's most likely something going on for that other person. And this is a learning opportunity of whatever's happening with the unkind behavior that's going on, is really recognizing that it's an opportunity to learn and grow on both people's parts. Your job isn't to help the other person necessarily, but it's to help yourself. And protect your heart, just like the title of our talk is today.
When we get stuck in that place of, oh no, all these things are just kind of crowding in, and I'm feeling so little, and I'm feeling unimportant, and I'm feeling not loved, not cared about. It can be really helpful to go, wait a second, okay, where is that person coming from? What even led them to say that? Would I say that to someone else? And if I were to, what would ever get me to that place of thinking that it would be okay to say that? Because that whoever said that thing, whatever that thing is, that hurt us, there's got to be something else going on for them. And so, I don't know, when I think coming from that place, it makes it easier to take the focus off of me and go, wait a second, there's more going on here. And I love that you pose those questions to the kids.
And it's important to do for ourselves. I mean, how many times in a workplace situation is there a situation where we're not feeling very valued, or we're feeling like we're the target, and being able to protect our heart with the unkind thing that a coworker said, or that a boss may have said to us, and being able to really, kind of pose those questions, kind of play with them, not, it's like, oh, okay, is that true? Well, wait a second, it is. I don't feel very confident, and not going into that. It's always knowing that you are valuable, that you are loved, that you are important. And those are important messages, like the affirmations. Why affirmations are so important is to, share what it is that helps you be that unique, wonderful individual that each of us are, and the gift we have to share with others in this world.
It's one thing to be the person who's being bullied, and you're so right. It's not just kids, even adults. This goes on at all age levels, for all different people. What are your thoughts about people who might be witnessing someone being bullied?
Yes, actually, a lot of the bullying prevention programs focus on the bystanders, because a lot of times what happens is that people don't know what to say, they don't know what to do. So helping children learn what are some things that you can say or do. And we have role played that and given them some little scripts that they can use to make it a little more automatic, that it's not uncomfortable. I know for myself, that was not something that was talked about. It was just, you stay away from that kid, and, don't be around that kid, or don't be her friend. And, that was the person I wanted to gravitate towards. And so, some of it is just being able to acknowledge, wow, this is not kind. This is not a kind behavior that's going on. And I, as an individual, have some power here. I can go and support that person by going and saying, you know what, don't listen to what they said. I can tell you may be feeling really hurt, or tell me about why you're crying. Yeah, I heard what they said. That was really unkind. And you know what? Why don't you come over here and play with us? So trying to include that person. If you see somebody's being excluded at a lunch table, people are whispering in another table, go over and sit with that person. Have your friends ask, if you have to ask to be, to move seats, raise your hand and say, hey, I noticed this. Could I go over and sit with them? And most of the time a school staff member is going to say, yes, please do, or on the playground, being able to go over and even say, hey, come over here and let's just bounce the ball together. At a workplace, being able to change the subject, take the focus off of what was the unkind thing that was being said. Not necessarily having to confront the other person. A lot of times people feel like, but I've got to confront that person, tell them how terrible that comment was. We can do that by not buying into it. When we're silent, it's like we're being accepting of what someone is saying or doing. So if we can take some action, and sometimes it may not be, you're out in some kind of public place and the thing that you can do is call 911 and report it. Maybe it's saying a silent prayer and being kind to someone else. When you've seen something that you can't necessarily intervene in, right, but you kind of say that silent blessing to that person, and then you go and do something kind for someone else, that you're passing on that kindness. That's why the movements of passing kindness on or passing gratitude on, those practices are so important to practice. And that's how bystanders can step up and step in and help others step into their own light, but also you feel like, I did something to be supportive and helpful.
Right. I know for me, I'm trying to think of a specific example. I know there was a time when I witnessed two people, and there's I could tell something was going on. It did not feel right. And I remember just walking over and saying something. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember saying, okay, something's not right. I need to say something. And walking over, and I think I said something just as simple as, hey, what's going on? Or, oh, hey, how are you guys doing? And that was enough to dismantle the energy of the bully in that space. And And I think that's why I want to share that, is because I think sometimes when we see something and we know something's not right, something's, maybe we full on know someone's flat out being bullied, or we just know something's uncomfortable and maybe I can do something, but we don't know what, or we think that we have to do something astronomical and, I don't have the means for that, or, I'm rushing off to somewhere or something. The whole point is it doesn't have to be some major thing. It can be simply as simple as just showing up, just being present. And all of a sudden that energy can shift, and it gives the bully a moment to say, oh, wait a second. Maybe I don't have all this power I had going on in my head or whatever. And it gives the other person being bullied a moment to say, I have support and I'm not alone. And I think even if, someone were to just say something like, hey, what's going on? That split second can be enough to empower the person being bullied to say, okay, I'm going to step into my power now.
People a lot of times do get really kind of uncomfortable thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have the answer. What's not the how, it's just letting it evolve from you.
Yes.
And it's shifting the energy, because there's that energy going on. You can't have a bullying situation without somebody trying to gain power and somebody maybe not feeling as powerful, and there's a match there. So by disrupting that pattern that's going on between that energy, it's enough to shift it and sometimes disengage it. And the key word you said was support. People need to know that when there is unkind behaviors going on, that there is support out there, whether from other people who see it happening, being able to have a trusted person to talk to, a friend, a parent, a colleague, a neighbor, somebody that they can trust to be able to talk to. And not necessarily going into the drama and the story of what every little detail was. I used to let kids sit and tell me all of it. And in the last couple of years, I've been like, okay, what is it that you want? Why do you want it? And how do you want to feel? Okay, what action can we take in this moment to help you move forward to be able to do that? And just knowing that they had that support, someone to listen, someone to acknowledge that they're feeling a certain way. And, using an iMessage of being able to say, when we speak, no one ever can make us feel a certain way unless we allow them to. Anytime we say, oh, she made me feel that way, or he made me feel that way, it is such a disempowering statement.
Right.
And it's not true unless we believe that. So being able to say, I felt or I feel sad when I don't get included to sit with people at the table. I feel embarrassed when people say things that aren't true about me. And I really wish, or I really want to have people include me at the table. I really wish or want people to say only true things about me. That helps to put that out there, stand in your own power, acknowledging your feelings, because they're your feelings. You might not find sitting, if somebody doesn't want to sit with you, you might be like, I'd much rather sit by myself anyway. That might not faze you, but for somebody else who's very highly sensitive and loves that social interaction, they take that in a different way. So it's being able to help people have that voice, but as a parent or a caretaker or even a colleague, able to say, well, how did you feel about that? Trying to get them to explain what it is that they're feeling about the situation, and listening, really full on listening to what that is, not trying to fix it, not trying to say, well, you got to do this, or you got to do that, because they'll figure it out. And if you ask those 3 questions, what is it you want? Why do you want it? And how do you want to feel? That's going to help get them to another space of being able to bring different energy to that. And the hard thing is sometimes is we've not been taught that as adults. When we were kids, that wasn't the experience we may have had. And there's still a lot of old wounds there sometimes, or those limiting beliefs. But being able to step out and acknowledge that this is a human condition. This is something that we all experience at points and times. And one of the things that is of value is to just be with somebody, letting them cry, letting them share what they're feeling without going into all of the details in that moment, and helping them, again, shift to what it is that they want, and knowing that they are valuable, that they are important. Those asking those questions previously of, is that true?
Right.
Is that was that kind? Wow, I wonder what was going on for them. That they decided that they wanted to try to put you in that role of being a target. One of the things that I've taught kids at school is a way to protect their heart is kind of pretend like you've got this shield in front of you and it's protecting your heart. And anytime something comes your way that's not kind or caring, that it kind of bounces off of that, because in your mind you're saying, wow, so-and-so must be having a bad day. I'm not going to let it ruin my day because I'm really good at such and such, or I'm really kind. I'm a very compassionate person. I'm very helpful, whatever that might be. And sometimes as the adult or the caregiver or mentor, helping a child or a coworker, it can be, another adult, remembering those things, coming back to that light that each of us share. That gets dampened, that has been dampened sometimes by our other experiences of what we've allowed other people to make us think is true. And so it's really about taking that opportunity as a learning opportunity. A lot of times what happens is adults want to protect their children. A teacher wants to protect their children. They don't want these things happening.
Yeah.
But things happen that are not kind things to all of us at different points in time. It's about how we choose to respond to that that's going to help us step into our own power and empower us. And if we can do that as adults with kids or with other adults and help them learn to stand in their own power and remember their own gifts, and that this is a temporary situation. And in every crisis, there is always opportunity to learn and grow from that if you choose to.
Right.
You can choose to stay stuck in that story, in that drama of the victim, or I'm always the target, or I have always got to be the queen bee and be in charge, and I am always looking for power from other people, because really underneath I don't feel like I have that power in other areas of my life. So those are a couple things hopefully that can help with, for parents, caregivers, mentors, teachers, to help kids and also adults.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I think, I got to be honest, I hadn't really, it makes total sense, but I hadn't really thought before that everyone has probably had some sort of bullying experience in their life. But I think you're right. And the more I think about it, because I'm a firm believer too, that we have total choice in how we respond to things. And I think those bullies are the catalyst for us being able to say, hey, wait a minute, I have power too.
Mm-hmm.
And
giving us that learning opportunity to recognize and heal
Yeah.
some of the stories that we've told ourselves or the limiting beliefs. And the thing is if we don't start to resolve some of those things, they're going to keep showing up in our life.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, with a different person, with a different in a different scenario, but what happens is, and I've seen this, is a lot of times people want to come in and rescue and take away the pain and make it not so good, so bad, and if we do that, we don't allow the person to resolve that within themselves. And again, it's just going to show up because each of us has our own journey that we are on in life. And what happens a lot of times for parents with their children, and even for school staff, and I found myself in this role at times, as a counselor or as a teacher, you just want to fix it for the kid. You just want to make it better. But when we do those things, we're really disempowering the other person. Because we're not allowing them to ask those questions, to find that within themselves and look at it, roll it around, recognize that the other person has things that they're working on.
You're talking earlier about listening, just listening to someone. But you were also talking about, the sense I got was about the balance of listening and letting someone have their feelings and express them and to know that they're heard. But at the same time, we're not going to stay there. That's a moment in time where let's get that out. Let's make that connection and just, it helps us to just be able to release. I always think of sometimes when we've got all this going on in our head, or, just all these emotions going on, all these thoughts going on, it tends to feel like a balloon. And sometimes just by, just being there for someone, we can just sort of pop that balloon and sort of deflate and relax and, into ease and a space of being able to think clearly and find inner peace. Okay. So all that said, having, that space to just be heard, but then putting those questions out there, because those questions are what is going to help us be able to move forward. And I think a lot of times one of the words, I'm just realizing this morning, there are two words that I tend to cringe a little when I hear. And one of them is reality, because I think a lot of people say, oh, well, the reality is, there's many realities. We're creating a reality every moment. And so the reality can be, this awful thing happened and now I'm down and depressed for the rest of my life. Or this awful thing happened and I said, that's not my truth. And I'm going to choose to create something different, create a new reality. And that's the reality. And so I guess I just want to say that, reality is not a fixed place. It's something that is very fluid and mobile. And I think that's the beauty of it all. And it takes someone like a coach like you to be able to shine that light, open that space and say, okay, what are you going to choose next? And so I love that you're able to take your background working with kids and, and be able to help them start to have those thought processes at an earlier age, because some people, it doesn't come until way later.
One of my clients told me just recently, she said, I've never thought about some of these things. I've never really realized that I had a choice in how I felt. And, that is such an important piece of creating our own reality. Yes. And what we do with what shows up in all of the moments. And as you said earlier, your word for this year, or your theme for this year, is joy. My theme and word is joy as well. And I choose joy in the moments, even when things or the reality seems really uncomfortable and not as I wished it maybe could be, but remembering that I have a choice in how I feel that experience in that moment, and that I have the ability to shift to feeling more joyful in other moments as I continue, that I don't keep replaying the same thing over and over, or that feeling that, I always loved, you think about gum, when somebody isn't being very responsible and they spit gum out on the ground, mm-hmm. and we walk around and then we step on it, especially on a hot day, and it gets on the bottom of your shoe and it's stuck, and then you're trying to get it off. And, that's a really uncomfortable feeling. That's what it's like. But we have the opportunity to not stay stuck in an uncomfortable experience, or in a reality that isn't how we desire it to be. So I love what you just shared, because that is so true. And there are many realities, and you have a choice on which one you want to be yours.
Yeah. Beth, who are your ideal coaching clients?
Oh, really good question. My ideal coaching clients are people who value that growth, self-growth, and who want to make the world better for themselves as well as for other people. Because when we're feeling better in who we are and stronger and more empowered, then we are able to help other people as well. And so my ideal client is somebody who may be going through a transition in their life. Maybe they're not feeling very empowered at work. Maybe they're not sure if this is the right job for them. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they're coming out. Maybe they are having a difficult time with their child. Maybe their child's being bullied and they are really trying to figure out, how do I assist my child to move through this and become empowered themselves? So those would be some of the things that I see in my ideal client, but really that desire to really be the best that they can be.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier that you, and I've seen this on Facebook, you share your Music Mondays, and then you talked about you're going to be doing the Flip Friday. That's awesome.
This coming year in 2017, I'm going to kind of do a musical musings A to Z. There's my educational background coming in and teaching first grade for several years. A to Z. So there are songs that I have chosen previously and they may have been previous songs on Music Monday, but they're going to have a little more depth to them with really examining at least for me, what jumped out at me. And then Flip It Fridays gives people an opportunity on Facebook Live to say, how has it impacted them? What is an important lyric from that song that touched their heart? So that's kind of how I've chosen them in the past and kind of where I'm going to for 2017.
I love that. I love how music is just, it's so powerful because it can so quickly shift us and our energy and our vibration. And something I want to say is, I think sometimes when people hear other people talking about feelings and emotions, it sounds so, and vibration, it sounds so soft and as if it doesn't have a place because it's not, I don't know, hasn't been a lot of importance placed on it in the past. But what I love about continuing to bring up the value of emotions and vibration, and music ties into this because it gets us to that place to be able to connect with our emotions and emote, is because there's information in it. And I love that's what you're doing. You're extracting the information from those songs. It seems so simple, and I think that's the other thing too, is that as we move through life and we experience whatever challenges, whether it be bullying or whatever else is going on, it brings us to that place that's really hard and constricted. And then eventually we kind of break open. And I think that's when the learning comes through of, it's okay. Yeah, it did serve a purpose. There's something to learn from that. And so I love the work that law of attraction coaches such as yourself are doing by really helping people to connect with those emotions and see how it's just a whole wealth of, it's like a volcano.
It is.
Like a volcano of information. And so I just needed to say that. So this was a perfect time to say that.
Yeah, it comes from inside out, but it's bringing forth that to remind us. I mean, we get so caught up in the resistance and everything that's going on and how hard everything is, and recognizing that all of those emotions are just helping us to allow and move through life in a better way, in a more fun way, in an easier way. Life doesn't have to be hard, but it's there's a lot of messages out there, whether it's in a movie, whether it's in music, and we feel free to emote during those. Watching a movie, we can let the tears flow. We can let the anger flow of, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person's doing that to that person or whatever. But when it's our real life, we become constricted and we restrict that because of messages that we've been communicated is all your feelings. And one of the biggest messages is all your feelings are okay. It's what you do with them that counts. That's that choice piece. And we do have choices.
So, well, Beth, thank you for sharing everything that you've shared. I know that you are also doing something called the Thrive Movement. Would you like to share something about that?
Sure. The Thrive Movement is basically just really how different information and strategies that can help you thrive. It might be resources from other people. I'm trying to do a community guides interview once a month and helping people connect. We hear so much negative in the world and in the news out there. And I think it's our responsibility and joy to bring information to others to help them thrive through times that are uncertain sometimes, or that we don't feel very supported, and create a community around that, and create a community of people wanting to thrive in their lives. And hey, here's some resources and people that can help you do that. Here's some music that can assist you on Monday mornings to reset your week, to start your week off, and Flip It Fridays on Friday to help you ponder it a little bit deeper. What have you thought about during the week? And share it with a community of people who are interested in doing the same, and connecting with those like-minded people that want to focus on the good that is out there. Because and you can be part of that good by being part of energy towards something that you desire. And so that's really what the Thrive Movement is all about. And I invite people to sign up and be a part of that, to get more information and inspiration and resources to be able to do that.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
They can go to www.arrivalcoaching.com. And if they sign up for the Thrive Movement with their name and email address, I will keep them in the loop with the musical musings each week, a monthly newsletter that has a summary of the resources, and the Facebook Live videos and interviews that I'll be doing monthly with people in particular areas, whether it's maybe creating your ideal body, or creating the finances that you desire to have, different things like that. And all of that can be found by just putting your name and email address in. And also you get a free guide on helping you with the Encourage the Heart process, which part of it is protecting your heart. So if you'd like that, www.arrivalcoaching.com, or you can email me at beth@arrivalcoaching.com.
What a wonderful gift. That sounds just like a plethora of resources that you're providing to people, and that's amazing. Beth, do you have any final words that you would like to share, about protecting your heart and moving forward?
I just want to thank you for this opportunity to be able to share about how important that is to protect our heart and to put forth our heartfelt, powerful being that each of us are, and not allow others to dampen that, that we allow ourselves to step into our own light. Because that way we put a string of lights around our own heart and that of others. And that's just a powerful thing to do. And you do that with what you're doing right now. And I thank you for bringing others to other people's living rooms or workplaces or wherever people are watching your videos, and being inspired and learning new information and meeting new people and people who are passionate about similar things that they are. And so thank you for having that community and doing these interviews with different people. So I just appreciate you, Kim.
Thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for being with me today, Beth. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you and seeing what you're doing. And again, for all those watching, if you would like to find out more about Beth's Thrive Movement and her Music Mondays and her Flip Fridays and all of that stuff, go to arrivalcoaching.com, right? Arrivalcoaching.com. Okay. And and you can find out more. Have a wonderful day, and until next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Beth.
And of course, my cat's going up and down the steps.
I noticed, but
it's a part of all this.
Let's see. What actually is the question? Is there a I'm sorry, now all I can do is laugh.
Okay, we needed a laugh break.